What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is May the 7th. It is a Thursday today. As you can see, the overall markets are continuing to gravitate towards the upside. Qs, nice bounce right off our after hours highs yesterday. Continuation towards the upside. SPY holding key levels. Nice push towards the upside here as well. SMH up about 5%. So a lot of names holding up here. Every single dip is being bought up here in the market. That's still working out. There's a bunch of things to kind of talk about coming to today. We have a couple more earnings. We had some earnings yesterday, and then we do have some other things, as I mentioned, which we'll talk about here in a second with the economic calendar. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, Cade. Good morning, Victor, Kelvin, B Roots. Good morning, P1. Good morning, TW. What's up, everyone? Chris, Maria, Lamit, Nina. What's up, Kevin, Deuce, Knight, Robert? Good morning, Gerald. What's up, Andy? What's up, Vade, Francis, Julius, Sam? What's up, Nina? Hope you're doing well. Josie, Kyle. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Let's pull up the economic calendar and we'll get started here. And then we'll head on to the charts. So coming to market open, recently, as of late, we've had some news regarding the, of course, peace deal, the Strait of Hormuz, everything else as well. As you can see, it's not really affecting the markets. We went from basically before, right, that 2-week peace deal and basically the war news that we had originally to now just being the Strait of Hormuz news that we have in the markets, which, as you can see, it's not really affecting the markets as much. Any single time we do have a very miniature drop in the markets, instantly bought up, and we're continuing back towards the upside. So in this case, as you can see right here, the key levels that we have marked out coming into, for the earnings calendar that we have, the economic calendar that we have. Coming to market open, we have unemployment. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll keep an eye on this. Most of the red folder news events that we've had this week hasn't really been affecting the markets. As for tomorrow, we have some more red folder news events as well. Average hourly earnings month over month. We have the non-farm enrollment change. That's going to be at 8:30. Plus, we have the unemployment rate as well. And then at 10 a.m., we have the prelim consumer sentiment. So this is what we have for the economic calendar, at least. As I mentioned, a lot of these ones aren't affecting the markets as much now. Majority of the names that are moving are just based off technicals and, of course, the higher time frames. Next week, we have a couple bigger things to keep in mind, which is going to be core CPI along with core PPI. It's actually going to return back to its original date previously. A lot of the CPI numbers have been released on Friday, but it's going to be back on Tuesday and Wednesday here now. As for the earnings calendar here, a couple earnings yesterday to keep an eye out for. ARM, nice pop in the after hours, but then after it dropped. APP, Fastly, this one was a pretty big one to keep an eye out for. Coming to market open here now, and after close, Iron, that's going to be a big one today. CRWV, AAIO, Open Door, Coinbase, AFRM. So there's a couple big ones tonight. MP Materials, that one's going to be a big one as well, kind of the Trump theme that we have going on. So a couple names to keep an eye out for coming into today. The main thing was a couple of days ago when we had AMD and the rest of the semiconductors, which are still holding up. So AMD, SMCI, and the rest of the names on the semis at least are still holding up, and we haven't dropped, and we're holding key levels. So with that being said, let's hop straight into the charts and what we have coming into market open. The overall markets are holding major key levels that we do have. We'll start off on the weekly time frame here. Let me grab some water before we get started. All right, so coming into market open, let's start off on the weekly time frame. Spot chart, as you can see here, weekly time frame is very much bullish, continuation towards the upside. Every single week so far, we've kind of talked about this, higher lows are being built, and we're continuing to push towards the upside here. If we're looking at this on the daily chart, similar thesis, every single dip has been bought up. Ever since we've had this 2-week peace deal in the markets, Higher lows, any sort of gap fill that we've had has been filled, and we've defended this gap level. Higher lows have been built, and as you can see, the SPYs just continue to push towards the upside. So this is our first kind of gap here in the markets. We'll see if we just continue and have a potential blow off the top move, but this is our first gap here on SPY. And now we're continuing towards the upside. We have this gap here, and we end up having continuation. This was earlier in April. We had this one gap here, which we end up filling. And now we're going to have a couple more other gaps here on the SPY chart. So coming to market open, the levels that I have marked out coming into today is going to be our previous day highs. We can use this level here now since we're fairly close, and we're going to mark this over. As for yesterday, the key levels that we marked out, we had to mark out other levels in the pre-market and after hours since our 725 was fairly far away. We had to use this level, which was our down close candle in the pre-market, which was a 15-minute order block. This level was used nicely for that push up and towards our pre-market highs. Now coming to market open here, the key levels that we're going to have drawn out is going to be our previous day highs. So for the SPY coming to market open, if we do want to see some upside, maintain above our previous day highs, hold above that level for a push towards the upside. Another possible scenario, above our pre-market highs for continuation higher here as well. So these are the two scenarios that we have on the SPY coming to market open. As I mentioned, basically the whole game plan has been the same the past couple of weeks. All we've been looking for is any sort of dips in the markets to go long for continuation. Shorts for us really have been off the table. It's been very difficult to short the markets just because we are holding up. We were well above our previous day highs on most days. So until we can break underneath our previous day lows, hold underneath our previous day lows, then we're going to be more bullish bias coming to market open. So this is the level that I have on the SPY coming to market open. As for the ES, levels we can draw it here now is going to be that previous day highs here as well. You can see for the ES, nice hold of that 15-minute down close candle yesterday, continuation towards the upside. End up using our pre-market highs to retest later into the day for this pushback towards the upside here as well. Now coming into market open, we can mark out that previous day highs. You can see price is now above our previous day highs, holding our previous day highs in the pre-market. We like to see this level be used as support for continuation. So the scenario is coming to market open, bounce here off our previous day highs, hold for a push towards the upside. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs for this pushback towards the upside here as well for this continuation higher. So for the ES coming to market open, we're going to have a bullish bias here in the markets, of course. Let's say, for example, we break underneath our previous day previous day highs, and we have a little bit of a pullback. We're still going to maintain a bullish stance in the markets, even if it pulls all the way back down in towards our high that we created yesterday, right? We're still going to be bullish. Higher lows can be built here on the 15-minute, higher lows can be built on the hourly time frame. Regardless, as I mentioned, higher time frame is just bullish. So any sort of major dip that we do have on the markets, we can be looking for continuation. All right, let's go on to the QQQ chart. As you can see here, if we're on the weekly time frame, levels now well above our previous all-time highs, as you can see right here. Weekly chart time frame fairly bullish. If we look at this on the daily chart, fairly bullish here as well, above our 640. And I can see we're having a couple of gaps here on the Qs. We're having a pretty big extension towards the upside as well. If you go back onto the hourly time frame, the key levels that we're going to have marked out. Let's go on to the 15-minute. Right, the key levels is our 681. We mentioned yesterday we couldn't use that 681 since our previous day highs was fairly far away. What we have marked out was our after hours highs. We ended up using this level nicely here for a pushback up in towards that pre-market highs. And now the key levels that we're going to have marked out coming into today is going to be our pre-market highs from yesterday. Other levels, we can also now mark out that previous day highs here as well. So we actually have two levels that we can mark out and drag over. So for the Qs coming to market open, we can be actually looking for a couple things today. Number one, bounce here off our previous day highs, hold for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario, if it breaks down, gravitates towards our after hours lows along with our pre-market highs from yesterday, potential bounce play is in play for a pushback towards the upside. You could also be looking for the potential reclaim later into the session, or now we're going to be looking for longs above our pre-market highs for continuation towards the upside. So really 3 scenarios on the Qs. Both of them, or all 3 of them, are bullish scenarios for continuation. So we'll keep this in mind here on the Qs. We'll maintain a bullish bias in the markets. And then for the rest of the tech names, we'll now be looking for continuation towards the upside here as well. As for the NQ, key levels that we could have marked out coming into today, now we can mark out that high that we created here in the pre-market. And we also can mark out that previous day highs here as well and drag this over. So for the NQ, very similar thesis. A lot of the names and indices, look how bullish this is. Every single dip so far is being bought up and continuing towards the upside. This technically was the first day that showed a little bit of weakness on the NQ, but it just held our order block, immediately got bought up, and we had a continuation. If you look at the ES, every single day so far has closed above its previous candle low, and every single down close candle, the ones that we've had, have held for continuation towards the upside. So for the NQ, the levels that we have coming into market open is going to be our previous day highs, which we have marked out here, and we also have our 28,600. So coming into market open, what we could be looking for is the bounce here off our previous day highs for a continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario, if we break underneath our previous day highs, hold that 28,640, we could be looking for the trade back above for that pushback towards the upside, or now above our pre-market highs for a continuation towards the upside. So we have a couple scenarios on the NQ here as well. Regardless, most of them are bullish, as I talked about. So any major dip that we have in the markets, we could be looking for continuation higher. So that's what I have on the SPY and Qs, along with the ES and NQ coming to market open. Key level is going to be that previous day highs coming into today. Now I'm going to go on to some tech names. There's a lot of tech names setting up that we do have. Nvidia, nice bounce yesterday. Tesla, nice bounce as well. Those are the names that were lagging behind. Apple, we had an all-time highs play on that one, recently hit in the pre-market. We'll go on to that in a second. We'll just head on to the SMH real quick, along with the IWM. But as you can see here for the SMH, this is the leading semiconductor towards the upside. Look how bullish the SMH is. From these April lows, 360, all the way up and towards almost 560 here on the SMH. Daily chart, really solid as well, very bullish towards the upside. Key levels now on the SMH and what we have marked out is our previous day highs. We also had this 15-minute order block here in the after hours on Tuesday. That ended up using nicely for a bounce play back towards the upside. Now the key levels that we do have marked out is going to be this 546. Above our 546 hold, continuation back up in towards our previous day highs, or now what we're going to be looking for, longs above our previous day highs for a push up in towards our after hours highs, along with our pre-market highs here on the SMH. As for the IWM, as you can see here, a nice push towards the upside as well. After breaking out of our consolidation, this one ended up having a nice continued push towards the upside. Key levels for the IWM coming into market open. We have our high that we created here on Tuesday. We have our pre-market highs from Wednesday. Now we can also mark out our previous day highs. And we can also mark out our previous day lows, which is very close to this level here as well. But for the IWM, if you do want to see upside today above our previous day highs, hold above our previous day highs, push up in towards that 289 here is in play on the IWM. Okay, that's what I have for the major indices coming into market open here now. I'm going to head on to Tesla and the rest of the tech names. If you guys do have any tickers coming into market open that you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. All right, let's first talk about Tesla. So we talked about Tesla as of recent. This one looks good on the higher time frames. It's taking a little bit longer to develop, but Tesla looks solid. 380 is our key level here. As you can see, key level of support. End up turning into resistance, got back above, broke underneath with earnings, and now we're reclaiming back above this level. 380s key. We also have that downtrend that we talked about. The bottom of the downtrend reclaim back above that 380. We can see a nice pushback on Tesla. This one has been lagging the overall markets. Everything else is close to all-time highs. I like Tesla here for continuation back towards upside. Buyers are stepping in here right off that 380. We're starting to curl here as well. Right, you can also mention potential kind of inverse head and shoulders forming, right? Not the greatest, kind of broke underneath this neckline here on the 380, but we are reclaiming back above. So potential kind of inverse head and shoulders here now for continuation back towards the upside. Tesla is one of my favorite names for continuation higher. At least in the midterm. If we're talking about the short term here coming into market open, the key levels that we're going to have marked out now is of course going to be that 407. What else we have here is now going to be that previous day highs. So the key levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day highs coming into today. And we have that 407. Tesla looks good. Potential previous day high retest hold for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario that we have here as well is above our pre-market highs, continuation towards the upside here as well. So two scenarios on Tesla. I like Tesla a lot, as I mentioned, just because it's been lagging the overall markets compared to every other ticker. The daily time frame is now trying to flip lower time frames, slowly starting to build up higher lows. You might have to give it a little bit more wiggle room on Tesla and a little bit longer to develop, but at least for today, finally breaking above our previous day highs, and we're gravitating towards a key level. Let's keep an eye on Tesla coming to market open here today above 400 for continuation towards the upside. My favorite would be that previous day high retest if you can get that for a push higher. NVIDIA, super solid bounce right off our previous retest level. I talked about this being a super solid area on NVIDIA. This is really solid, right? Right off that 196. Now we're gravitating back up and towards our previous all-time high. So super nice bounce, exactly where we bounced from earlier into the month in April. So right off that key retest level 196, buyers stepped in nicely right off that level, and now you can see nice bullish candle here on NVIDIA. So as you can see, key levels that we have marked out is our previous day highs. So we end up having that previous day high retest, gravitating back above this 202, and then pushing all the way back up and towards the area that we broke down from. So we're actually right back into a key level of resistance now, which is that 208. If we do want to see continuation higher above our 208, push up in towards our 210 and above. If we go into the 15-minute time frame, for longs, we're going to have to get above our previous day highs. Right, this is a key level here on the higher time frame as well. Above our 208, we can see our pre-market highs and above. Above our pre-market highs, we can see continuation here. For NVIDIA, if we reject off at 208, we can see a potential little bit of a pullback down in towards our after hours lows, which will be that 205. So key level for NVIDIA coming to market open is going to be 208. We'll head on to AMD here now as well. So AMD recently had earnings, nice push towards the upside. We talked about that first initial pop. Very hard to kind of capture on NVIDIA up and towards our pre-market highs, and then you end up having this kind of pre-market high rejection here. So for AMD coming to market open, after earnings here as well, I'm going to just readjust my levels. So we have our previous day highs marked out. We're also going to have our previous day lows. We can mark out this area here as well. So we have our 432 along with our 408. So these are the levels that we have on AMD coming to market open. AMD, I expect potential a little bit more consolidation coming to market open here as well, maybe a move later into the day. But really for AMD, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 407. So if you can see this bounce play here off this 407, continuation is in play back up and towards our all-time highs. If we consolidate, maybe opening range break, push back up and towards our previous day highs here is in play as well. So for AMD, this one of course is bullish on the daily chart. Yesterday, day one earnings, we usually talk about day one earnings doesn't happen, or nothing usually happens as much day number one. A lot of the earnings plays do happen on day number 2 and day number 3. So we'll see if we can get that continued pushback towards the upside here on AMD. As long as you can maintain above your previous day lows here, I do expect this one to push back up and towards that previous day highs. So AMD, regardless, higher time frame is bullish, right? Your best long scenario above our previous day lows for a pushback towards the upside. As for Apple, this is one of my favorite names. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. The key levels that we have marked out 280 along with our previous day highs. And now this one is at our all-time highs here as well. So nice previous day high retest on EMD later into the session. So as you can see, nice break, retest, previous day highs, hold, continuation back towards the upside. Now we're at our all-time highs here as well. So as you can see right here, we have a couple levels that we can have marked out. If we were to mark out the exact level, we have our previous all-time highs, which we can mark out here, and we can also mark out that previous day highs, which we can do here on the lower time frame. So we can mark out that previous day highs, and we also have our all-time highs here marked out. So for Apple coming into market open, if we do want to see continuation higher above our previous day highs, hold for a pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs and this all-time highs for continuation higher here. So this is what we have on Apple coming into market open here today. This one is very much bullish, and we can expect continuation on this ticker. As for Google, key levels that we have marked out, once we broke above our previous day highs, and end up holding this really solid bounce play here off this 388. Took a little bit longer to develop, but Google, nice bounce off that level. Key levels that we can have marked out is going to be our previous day highs here, 396, hold above our 396, continuation towards the upside. Above our pre-market highs, hold above that level for continuation higher here as well. As for Microsoft, this one bouncing nicely here. Microsoft really hasn't been doing too much. It's just been lagging the overall markets, but we are seeing some buyers step in. What we like to see now is a break above this previous day highs. This is going to be key along with our Monday's highs if we do want to see any sort of continuation. Earnings reversal back towards the upside, 430s in play. Something similar to Tesla. It's taking a little bit longer to develop, but Tesla, finally this earnings reversal play occurred as well after reclaiming back above that 380. Took a little bit longer, but now we have that earnings reversal back up in towards that 408. So very similar thesis to Microsoft, right? If we can break back above that 420, continuation back up in towards that earnings high here is in play. So keep this in mind for Microsoft. That one looks solid. Meta, similar thesis here. Key level is going to be that 620. If you don't want to see a potential earnings reversal, right, it's going to have to break above 620 for continuation higher. So this is setting up somewhat similar to Tesla. Once we had that earnings drop, consolidation, reclaim, continuation back towards the upside. Meta, something similar is forming. So drop, consolidation. If we can now get above our previous day highs, 620, potential room back towards the upside. So let's keep an eye out on Meta coming to market open. If we can break above our previous day highs, earnings reversal here is in play on Meta. As for Amazon coming to market open, key levels that we do have marked out is this flat top, 276. If we do want to see continuation towards the upside, above this flat top, 276 for continuation higher, right? Higher lows are being built. If we can get above that, we can see that continuation above that 276. All right, that's what we have for Amazon coming into market open here. Now let's go on to Netflix. This one dropped very close to that full earnings gap that we have created. Not quite hit that, but came very close to that earnings gap, that daily gap on the higher time frames. Key levels that we have marked out now is, of course, going to be that previous day highs, 88.50. If you want to see Netflix potential reversal back above our previous day highs, hold above that level for a pushback towards the highs. All right, with that being said, we have some names that we can go over here now. We have some time to go over some other tickers. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over here now, you guys can drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. All right, I'll go into Intel here in a second. For ES, why don't you use a 15-minute order block from the pre-market? We're drawing out our previous day highs and previous day lows. I used a 15-minute yesterday because we're in a clear trend. Now it's closer to our previous day high, so I'm just going to use that. All right, let's first talk about MU. So as you can see here on the daily chart, very bullish on MU. Nice gap up on the daily, nice continuation towards the upside. If you look at this on the daily time frame, couple gap ups here as well. Yesterday we had a gap on MU, immediately filled, and we had continuation towards the upside. So as you can see here, these ones continue to push higher, still holding above key levels. So we can just expect them to continue towards the upside. So for something like MU, what I'm going to have marked out is going to be our 650. This is our high that we created here on Tuesday. As you can see, yesterday, buyers tried stepping in right off the bat, broke underneath, reclaimed, and then you can see held, and then continuation up into close. Now, as you can see, we are back right at this 650. If we want to see continuation above our 650 hold for a pushback up and towards our previous day highs and potentially the 680. If it breaks underneath the 650, not interested in shorts down in towards our previous day lows. Shorts are not really not really interesting for me unless we're underneath our previous day lows at a minimum. So we're going to be looking for the 650 bounce. If it breaks underneath, you could be looking for the look below fail and reclaim push back towards the upside here on MU. So MU, keep an eye out on the 650. Other levels that we could have marked out, previous day highs, drag this over. 665 is our other level here as well. SNDK, this one's a little bit weaker compared to MU underneath our Tuesday's highs. If you do want to see some upside, preferably on SNDK back above our Tuesday's highs for a continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario here now is the bounce off our previous day lows, off that 1340, continuation back towards the highs here as well. So these are the scenarios on SNDK. And as I mentioned, not interested in shorts. It would have to get underneath our previous day lows at a minimum, and a lot of these names would have to flip bearish as well. I'd like to see the SMH gravitate towards the downside. I'd like to see a couple other tech names start flipping and some semis if you do want to look for a short. SNDK is a little bit weaker, but underneath our previous day lows, you could be looking for some downside, but I'll be a little bit more cautious. Intel. Let's keep an eye on Intel. Key levels that we have marked out today is going to be that Tuesday's highs. So this is the level that we have marked out. Other levels that we have marked out here can be our previous day highs as well, 113. So for Intel, coming to market open right around that Tuesday's highs, if you do want to see continuation towards the upside, like to see buyers step in right off the bat above this 110 for continuation. It could also build higher lows. So if it breaks underneath, it's technically underneath this 110 right now, right? You'd like to see the reclaim back above 110. Higher lows would still be built here, and you could be looking for the reclaim back above 110 for continuation, or now above our previous day highs for this push up in towards our all-time highs here on Intel is in play. So these ones are slowing down just a little bit, right? We're opening up in between its previous day's range. Compared to the Qs compared to the Qs, which is closer to the top of the range. SMH kind of in between its middle of the range here as well. So some of the tech names, some of the semis and memory are slowing down just a little bit. We are still holding up very much, right? Higher lows are very much still being built. So we're bullish here. Same thing on Intel. Higher lows are still being built. So we're bullish here on the lower time frames. Of course, the daily is bullish, the hourly is bullish, 15 minutes bullish, 5 minute fairly neutral, and the lower time frames is a little bit more neutral. So we're going to have to see some strength reclaim back above a couple key levels if we do want to see any continuation higher. As I mentioned, right, just look for any sort of major dips on these ones for continuation. For at least on the hourly time frame, I'm not interested in some downside, right? Because the higher time frame is still very much bullish. Higher lows are holding, right? The short scenario on a couple of these tickers would really only be in play if the markets stay heavy, for example, hold underneath your 110, right? And that would still be a little bit more of an aggressive short just because we haven't broke structure as of yet. I'd like shorts, honestly, underneath our previous day lows. For me, that would give me a little bit more conviction for a potential move back down in towards that 100. I don't really like the low risk short just because every single dip has been bought up. I'd much rather wait for some more confirmation, which now would be underneath that previous day lows. So underneath 106, then I might be interested in some shorts towards the downside. But until then, right, not really interested in any low risk shorts towards the downside just because the higher time frame is bullish. So that's what we have for the overall markets. As for the other names, WDC, this one's still holding up very nicely above our 480 for continuation towards the upside is in play for a push higher. TSM, another name that we talked about, this one looked fairly solid. Nice continuation, nice retest right off that 390. Continuation back up in towards our all-time highs. TSM, if you want to see continuation above our 412. Hold above our 412, continuation towards the upside. Hood SoFi, small bounces, not really too much to talk about. CRWV has earnings tonight, along with a couple other names. MP has earnings tonight. You have Iron that has earnings tonight as well. So a couple names that do have earnings to keep an eye out for. Let's take a look at ARM. This one had earnings yesterday. Nice pop after hitting our all-time highs. A little bit of rejection, and now we also have this gap here as well. So for ARM, we did actually quite a bit yesterday. So we end up having that nice push up and towards our all-time highs after gapping up. Nice spike in the after hours, followed up by a rejection all the way back down in towards our 215, which is the area that we broke out from. So for ARM, still technically bullish. Pretty big reaction here, but this is our key level. As you can see, multiple touches for ARM. We would really like to see the hold above our 215 for now, a push back up in towards our previous all-time highs, which we can have marked out. All right, so this is what we have for ARM. I would be a little bit more patient on this one today, day one after earnings. You could see a potential reversal on day number one, but this one had a pretty big move in the after hours followed by a big drop. So I would just be a little bit more patient. You could see a potential kind of mean reversion back up in towards our 236 today. So that could be a play to keep an eye out for, maybe like above our pre-market highs for a push up in towards that 236. You're going to have to take a look at the IV if you do want to trade any names with earnings, of course. All right, that's what we have coming into market open. I'm going to go over a couple more tickers. Let's see what we have. Let's go over Palantir. STX holding up very nicely still. So for Palantir, this one recently had earnings in between this range. Just be a little bit more cautious on Palantir. Not as clear for looking at this on the hourly time frame. Potential buyers, if we can get that reclaim back above that 136, potential continuation back towards upside. STX, this one's holding up very nicely. This one, another semi key levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. Another memory name that's holding up very nicely. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. We can also mark out that previous day lows and drag this over here as well. So coming into today on STX, keep an eye out on your previous day lows. You also have your previous day highs. Consolidation the past two sessions. If you do want to see some upside here now, either the bounce play offer 750 or longs above our 790 for continuation. All right, let's go into my game plan coming to market open. So game plan today, maintain a bullish bias above our previous day highs. As long as you can maintain above our previous day highs, that's going to be the best case scenario for longs. If we break underneath our previous day highs, then we're going to be a little bit more patient and wait for the flip back above our previous day highs to go long back towards the upside. SPY, similar thing, right? We're bullish in the pre-market above our previous day highs. We're going to maintain a bullish bias in the markets today. As for the SMH, you can see this one's lagging behind just a little bit, not quite above our previous day highs. Still bullish here. Higher lows are being built. We're going to be a little bit more patient on some of the semis needed above our 545 along with the 550 at a minimum if we do want to see continuation higher. Main watches today. Tesla showing some strength here in the pre-market. We are coming up into a key level of resistance, but Tesla has been lagging behind quite a bit. Personally, what I would like to see on Tesla is the previous day high retest and then push back towards the upside. If we can get that previous day high retest right off that 400, that would be fantastic. We could very much well come up into this 408, kind of reject and push back towards the downside. So that's why I'd like to see that previous day high retest right off the bat. But two scenarios on Tesla, keep an eye out on this. off our previous day highs, or maybe even aggressive entry above our pre-market highs. I'll be a little bit more cautious on this one, but this one's still in play here as well. So keep an eye out on Tesla coming to market open. Nvidia I do like here as well, above our 208. This one lagging behind the rest of the semiconductors. One of the most bullish in my opinion, just because it's lagging behind. Really solid bounce play off that 196 yesterday. Let's see if we can get that continued push back up and towards our all-time highs, previous all-time highs here. So for Nvidia, let's keep an eye out on longs above our previous highs, above our 208 in play for a push back up in towards pre-market highs and above. So let's keep an eye out on Nvidia coming to market open. AMD going to be a little bit more patient on, right? Longs are still in play here above that 404 for continuation back towards the upside. This one a little bit more in between its previous day's range. Apple, this one hit our all-time highs here, which was nice. You can keep an eye out on longs above our previous day highs, along with our all-time highs. As for Google, this one above our previous day highs here as well. Microsoft, this one above our 420. So a lot of names shaping up fairly nicely today, right? Microsoft above 420. You even have Meta above your previous day highs after consolidating for the past week. Potential reversal play here. Amazon, even a flat top break forming here on Amazon. So a lot of names are on watch coming into market open, at least on the higher time frames. So I would have secondary watches, right? Set alerts for Amazon and Meta in case it does want to break above our previous day highs, at least right off the bat. Tesla above our previous day highs, and keep an eye out on Nvidia above our previous day highs, Apple and Google above our previous day highs. And then for the rest of the names, right? Microsoft, keep an eye out on the break above and a retest of that, and then Meta and even Amazon. So almost every single ticker is on watch coming to market open. With that being said, you want to focus in on like 2 to 3 top watches. So some of my favorites, at least right off the bat, we'll keep an eye out on Tesla, Nvidia, and then we'll also keep an eye out on Apple here as well. And then you can just have secondary watches. You can set alerts. So let's say, for example, you're trading Amazon and you like this flat top break, right? Set an alert here above your 276, right? You can set alert on TradingView. You can set alert on whatever broker you have. Set an alert for a break above your previous day highs. And if it breaks above, then you can keep this on watch. At least for now, it doesn't matter until we can break above that 276. At least for the rest of the names, as I mentioned, key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 650. I do like MU potential bounce play here for continuation. SNDK, you can keep an eye on that previous day lows. The levels are a little bit farther away. Intel is key right here, which is going to be that 110, right? Bounce here off your 110 for continuation back towards the upside. A couple other ones, some of you guys are mentioning Oracle. Oracle looks good here. We're flipping back above here as well. Higher lows are being built on the daily chart. Recently broke back above our key level of resistance now as well. So for Oracle, this one breaking above our key level 188. Now what we have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. Of course, Oracle is a lot farther away from your previous day highs. You can mark out your pre-market highs along with this down close candle here as well. So for Oracle, longs above 200, or now you're going to be waiting for the dip down in towards your 198 for a continuation higher here as well. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, there's quite a few things to watch out for coming into market open. So make sure you just have 2 to 3 top watches and then you set alerts for everything else. And then once those alerts hit, you can keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.